Hey guys, welcome to YouTube, and I've got a quick question. I have a slightly used kazoo, a pen with no ink in it, and a sonic screwdriver without batteries. Do you think Mephisto would trade that for my dying aunt? Alright, yep. Today, I read the One More Day storyline. What's widely considered to be the worst story in Spider-Man's history, and you know what? It is. It's awful. It's horrendous. And the fact that I could read 160 issues in 6 days, but it took me 12 and a half hours to get through 4 25-page issues really shows how bad it is. I mean, despite just the fact that they're getting rid of something that's been around forever that people actually enjoyed. And I wasn't born when they got married. I wasn't around when people were, or as Joe Quesada claims, people were complaining about it. I could be wrong. I could definitely be a little out of date and just not as connected as I should be. But I loved them together. Every comic I read, I preferred them together. In the shows, in the movies. And they just got rid of it because they didn't like it. In the dumbest way possible. It makes no sense, really. And I just cannot stand the reasoning behind it. The fact that repeatedly everyone is telling Peter to move on. And he's just like, fuck you guys. Nope. You guys got a problem with it? You move on. You move on. And I feel like that's really what this entire story is about. Fuck you guys. Move on. You guys like this? Sucks. And I know I'm the last person to talk about this. Once again, like I said with Ultimate Spider-Man, I'm probably 10 years too late, but you know what? I wanted to talk about it. I wanted to tell anyone who the story hasn't reached to... Actually, you know what? I don't want people to avoid it. I want this book to be studied. I want people to look at it and really determine what anyone writing, doing the art on, editing, anything about it. I want people to study this and say why it's horseshit, because it is... Nothing adds up. It's saying that Peter... First of all, this is my first problem with it. The alternate versions of Peter, they're saying he's a lonely loser because he never got bit by the spider. And I don't know about you, but when I read Spider-Man, when I watch Spider-Man, I don't think of Peter Parker as the spider bite. I think of him as the one hero, really the one hero ever, who's doing this because he feels the need to. Sure, with great power comes great responsibility reflects most superheroes. But he tells anyone and everyone he meets that that's why he does it. And sure, it's just a hokey catchphrase at this point, but it's always meant something. It's his brand. And as people pointed out, he's completely ignoring his responsibility. He's got to take responsibility for what happened. And what does he do? Undoes it. Fuck you guys. And I cannot stand it. Really. It's amazing that someone thought this was a good idea. Not only that, an editor-in-chief of Marvel thought it was a good idea. maybe undoing the marriage would have been not good, but okay. Maybe, maybe bring back Gwen Stacy somehow or another. Might not have been bad. But the idea that Spider-Man shouldn't be married because it's bad for storytelling is horseshit. What's bad for storytelling is a bad story. And it took 4 issues to show how bad a story a lack of marriage could be just as much as a marriage. So, I don't know what they were thinking with this. I made a joke in the beginning of this video, because Mephisto's reasoning for wanting that marriage doesn't really make sense. I mean, I guess in the most narrow of explanations it does, but that's assuming you don't want to question anything at all, on top of the fact that they're betting on the fact that it's so bad that you don't question anything. Because, you know what? It's not about the story. This story, it means nothing. It's what it represents that's awful. The fact that someone decides to just get rid of something because that's not how storytelling works. Or that's not how a story should go. Or it's just a bad story. That's what this story represents. And it is god-awful. In every description of the word, it is god-awful. And I can't believe that I read this as a point. Because I read it, and I understand why people stopped reading Spider-Man for 10, 15 years. 10 to 15, you know, that's not how the timeline works, but whatever. I understand why it's considered so bad. And I understood why it ruined Spider-Man for people. Because it's not an awful story. It's just a bad story. But the fact that someone can write it and put the middle finger to the audience in the most sincere way possible is why people hate this story. And you know what? I've only talked about this for about 8 minutes, and I'm surprised that's all I have to say, but I think that really describes the story. It's bland. It's uninspired because there is no inspiration there. A story should be about having an idea that you want to blossom. This is ripping an idea away. And that's disgusting. One of the reasons I'm actually doing this is because I found out that they're finally starting to take back the entire series. Or, not series, event. And I'm going to try to read a little bit more Spider-Man before I actually jump on that train, but I plan on reading that takesies backsies, pretty much. And I hope it's as good as this story is bad. And that's all I really have to say. Thanks for watching.